But we're going to talk about something very specific about what the new game will be like in terms of mechanics.
Shall we begin?
Hello everyone, it's Naruto here, and we have another amazing video here for you today. What's up, Fear fam and all you Fearless Shinobi? Guys, we got a super awesome video. We're going to talk about the new Naruto game coming out. As of now, it's Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 5 in development, but it might not be called that. It could be called something different. Definitely it's going to have Boruto characters in it from the next generation, the anime and manga, and the Naruto Shippuden characters most likely as well, because we got those fan favorites like Pain and a ton of other characters like Itachi and Minato that we love so much that we need to have in our games. If it's not in our games, I'd be surprised. If you haven't seen what Naruto Storm 5 will be like, check out that video on the Don't Lose to Fear YouTube channel. But we're going to talk about something very specific about what the new game will be like in terms of mechanics. We're going to talk about frame manipulation and frame data. So, just to let you know, if you don't know, when you see a move happen in the game, or you do a move in the game with your controller, whatever you're playing on, right? What ends up happening is when you press that circle button, or you grab, or you do a jutsu, that move has frame data, meaning from the beginning, right, to the ending, right? From the beginning to the end, there are active frames. So the beginning of the move to the end. So when Itachi, say, punches, he first puts his fist up, boom, first active frame. And then he does this, last active frame. All right, so we're going to use Sasuke here to do a tilt, stun, and pop-up. That has frame data of its own with its own hitboxes. We're walking forward with Itachi. Going to do the first hit. There it is, the first hit. Then we're going to do the second hit, is a swipe. The third hit is a kick, sideways lateral kick. And we're doing this all on a guard. It's a mini jail. And the fourth hit is really cool, where he flings his body and does another multi-layered kick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cancel it using frame manipulation data with a pill, a speed pill, right? And we can do that at any point of those sort of openings. Now here we have another cancel, which is a dash cancel, a chakra dash cancel. Did a ninja move into a chakra dash cancel from a pill cancel. There's the active frame. The first punch, guys. The second hit. So in the startup animation, he's vulnerable and he can be attacked. But once that first frame is active, he now has the ability to create action and meaningful action, right? And to do something in the game. So you actually get this benefit through your avatar, which is Itachi in the game, okay? Now at the end of that frame, when it's done, when the move is done, the first hit in the animation of the combo animation, you are now vulnerable unless you press circle again and get the next frame, and then the next frame, like the next action and the next action, sorry, but each one of those actions have frames. So in that first action of the first punch, right, you might have like 23 frames, or 38 frames, or 40 something frames, right? And the interesting thing is that the difference in the Naruto games is that in certain games like Generations, Revolutions, Demon Slayer, you get less active frames to manipulate the frame data, okay? Whereas in Naruto Storm 2, 3, and 4, you get more active frames to manipulate. And play Revolution and then go play Demon Slayer if you have that. It's pretty much the same engine that they're playing on. I literally, I kid you not. It has the same exact feeling. And also the Generation, Revolution, and Demon Slayer all have the same type of engine, whereas Storm 2, Storm 3, and Storm 4 all have the same type of engine. So if we do get a Storm 5, you're going to get that kind of bigger character, a little bit more clunky feeling to it with bigger hitboxes, okay? And if you get the Generation Revolution Demon Slayer type engine, you're going to get that refined feel with more accurate hitboxes and sort of less cloudiness and things that are left up to interpretation. It's more like, okay, we did this, it works. It's kind of more smooth in those games than it is in the 2, 3, 4. Now, let me explain it like this so you understand. Look at it like a gear. Okay? So right here, it's the beginning of the punch. Okay? This is the end of the punch. So here we're going to look at just the first punch. There it is. Startup, the first frame, the second frame, the third frame, the fourth frame, the fifth frame, and then it's done. And then it retracts, and then it goes into the second hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 frames of data and a beginning and an end. So startup, and then 5 hit frames, and then going back. So it's really 7 frames. The first frame, it's about to hit. Okay, you're vulnerable still, even for a brief second. If someone dashes you there, it'll stop. So the first hit is the startup. And then there's 5 active frames, and then there's a last frame where he's pulling back. So it's really 7 frames, and 5 of those 7 are lethal active frames where you can actually catch things like chakra dashes and that kind of stuff. So at the beginning, you might just whiff or miss, right? So you might try to punch, but you punch the air and you're not close enough to your target, or the person jumped away, dodged, or baited you out, or did a parry, counter, or switch in Naruto Storm 4, right? If you execute properly at the beginning and you do the move of your character at the right time, then now we get into frame manipulation. There is an opportunity here in the active frames while he's punching, and there's an opportunity just before he ends to do something. So you can jump cancel, for instance, or you can counter cancel and manipulate the frame data in the punch, grab, or jutsu, or in different parts of the combo as well. Now, in the Shun games, Generation Revolution, Demon Slayer, or potentially the new Naruto game might be a Shun game too, where we have less frame manipulation, right? So it's either going to be a game where we have less frame manipulation or more frame manipulation, and we don't know, right? So if it's a Shun game, there's not a lot of frame manipulation because, right, this kind of happens. It's probably even more like this, right? Where it's like, boom, maybe you don't hit it, you whiff. Boom, you've done it and you didn't do it at the right time, or you were kind of unsafe with it and you're exposed, and now they can punish you with a counter dash or whatever. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the Shun games. This is Revolution, the game before Storm 4. There was no switch tech or leader switch. Here we have him on the guard, but as you can see, it just opened up, and then he used a nice little hop and air combo to launch me up. And this is really, really important. So as you can see, it just kind of slides in. In the Shun games, it's more of, there's less sort of interplay and less interpretation. It just kind of locks in. That's why I gave you the 2 fingers, 2 prongs approach. And it's like, it just kind of slides in. Okay? And it just kind of just is more smooth. And there's kind of less sort of hitbox and frame manipulation. Okay? The game still plays very much the same way, although, here we go. So a good example too is this tilt trap. And the guard also just kind of locks in as well, I noticed. Okay, so that's that. A lot of times it even might be like this. So think about the gears, right? So in the 2, 3, 4 games, lots of frame manipulation. Examples of this would be dashing, counter dashing, right? Parrying. Parrying actually allows you to freeze time in a specific frame and then punish and counter with something that you want. And you can do that pretty much with anything. A grab, a combo, a jutsu, an ultimate jutsu. So we want to talk about the parry and the counter, right? So the counter is one thing, but the parry is a next level. So this is me playing a ranked game where I literally did the impossible, the most impossible parry, which is I parried a Chidori, right? So as you can see here, we're slowing it down. Boom, we counter, we switch at the right time in the right active frames. I don't even know how many active frames there are, but there probably has to be like 3 or less active frames. Like that's how specific this is. So you counter, switch, and you're completely safe. And now you can just combo. Okay? Frame manipulation, hitbox manipulation. All sorts of things. Okay? So in the 2, 3, 4 games, I want you to think of it kind of like an opportunity to kind of become an artist that creates his own play style. And you can kind of freeze frames without the parry manually without a tool. So the parry is basically a tool to freeze those frames in a very specific way. So actually, let's even do it like this, right? So you could actually choose to do it here. You could choose to do it in the next available time to manipulate the frame, or here, or here, or here. So I'll give you active examples. One is you can guard manipulate to create jails. Now, a lot of people don't like these infinite jails because there isn't a lot of counterplay, and it feels really, really good for one person, the person doing it. It doesn't feel really, really good for the other person. There's not a lot of options for the other person to do things. Another way to frame manipulate is the combo support glitch. So if you use a character like Hashirama, right, and these like Sage Mode Hashirama and these type of characters, if you do the combo support glitch to manipulate frames, you've now denied a lot of space and counterplay for the other person. So basically, as long as they're in your effective range, which is actually a very large effective range, right? It's actually a very large effective range. You can't really have any counterplay in that effective range because you're just kind of caught and stuck. Another good thing is on air combo resets, you can actually guard manipulate and reset them so when they land, now they've opened up their guard when they land. When you manipulate them in the air, they drop, and boom, now you can combo in the ground. All right, so on the way down, he threw out the bags. The bags hit me, allowing me to be able to reset my air combo. I had those active frames where at the right time, because he was guarding, if I swiped at the right time in the active frames, if you measure it, right, his body from the ground to where he was in the air, if I swipe at the right time while he's in the air, right, swipe, he's gonna open his guard, and then I can just continue my combo on the ground. More hitbox and frame manipulation. This is definitely possible in the other games, but it manifests completely differently. I would say that numbered games like 2, 3, 4 kind of have more possibilities, but also at the same time more nonsense that can potentially happen. Really cool things that can happen, but also kind of more nonsense. Another way to manipulate is substitution bar manipulation. A lot of people do this, a lot of people don't do this. And one example with this would be putting a kunai bag out, a floating kunai bag, knowing the timing of that. So when it hits, right, they will substitute, thinking that they're going to substitute, for instance, an ultimate jutsu. So in this particular situation, I use Kamui to create a substitution trap and to use frame manipulations on the substitution bar. All right, so here we have the kunai bag that I already put out. You'll see the kunais coming through across the screen. He subs that frame manipulation in a substitution trap, and boom, even though he has 3 substitution bars on the left-hand side, he gets hit with the Kamui because he was on the way down and he subbed back into it.
Yes!
Crazy.
We got the round.
To make that happen and make a beautiful, skillful, artistic way of trapping the enemy and using kind of big brain plays instead of just making this game into a masher, right? Another really good example of frame manipulation would be something that you can do with with your character by jump blocking at different levels and different heights, throwing shuriken down depending on the character. Almost all characters can do it, right? And manipulating the pressure between in the pressure exchange between you and your opponent, because you know that they're going to do certain things and there's certain things that they may not do. So I can show you that there too as well. Well, here there's a lot of things that are going on. I'll break that down later, but you can see that there's a lot more interplay in the 2, 3, 4 games because of the frame manipulation and because there's more opportunities to manipulate in the frame data. So Naruto Storm 5, it's going to go either one way or the other. Either you're not going to have a lot of frame manipulation if you get a shun game, right? If you get a 2, 3, 4 numbered game, you will have most likely tons of frame manipulation. So something to think about, something to look forward to. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you guys. This community is getting bigger, stronger, more capable, and super awesome. You guys are just super cool. I really like what I see here on the YouTube channel and in this community here, and I think we're going in a really good direction and things are doing really, really well. So I just wanted to thank you guys, and more importantly, I hope you have a fantastic day, an amazing day. If not, I hope it gets better for you soon. Peace.